Hey, beautiful community, how are you? It is freezing cold down here in the Highlands, and there's possible snow coming, which is super, super exciting. Anyway, I am thrilled to speak into this much needed topic with you about why your vision boards aren't enough and why they're not working. I used to be the queen of the best vision boards that you've ever seen. I'm not joking. I had a new vision board every year, I think over about a 5-year period. And I was pretty happy with myself. I was like, yep, I'm doing the work, got my vision boards, got beautiful pictures that inspire me. I'm very clear on what I want. And, it gave me that sense of like, so that's going to come to fruition, right? That didn't happen. And whilst my vision board was so on point and did inspire me when I looked at it, the incongruence and the missing piece was that I wasn't doing anything to shift my belief system. I wasn't doing anything to up-level my authenticity, my self-expression, to heal my abandonment wounds, which I'd had since I was 8 years old. And that 8-year-old was running my life. Back then in my 30s, when I was wanting to really meet my soulmate, 1 year rolled into the next, 30 became 31, 32, all the way up to 36. In fact, I was even earlier than that I was wanting to meet my soulmate. And I was like, okay, so the affirmations and the mantras and the vision boards, like I've been doing this for years. I was like, this is not enough. And I was very frustrated because I was like, God, like, why wasn't I questioning this earlier? I really thought by being positive, by having the clear vision of what I wanted, like that was enough. And I'm really good at visualization, and that's a huge part of what you have to do with a vision board. But again, unless you are being who you want to attract, the vision board is redundant. This is what people aren't sharing. It's like, just do a vision board, just do this, and that's enough. And it's a real disservice to think that that's enough. When you've got negative beliefs that are buried about love, about relationships, like you might have grown up in a family where your mum and dad fought. So deep down, your little girl is like, no way is love safe. There's no way. Even though you're saying to the universe, I want to attract my soulmate, your vibration is a hell's no. That is like the last thing that I actually want. And so you're in major conflict with what you're calling in. And this is what was going on for me. Like, this is such a potent live on so many levels because I want to save you a lot of time because, especially if you want to have a family, this isn't going to cut it. You've got to actually go deep into your belief systems, into the psychology that you have around relationships. And most importantly, you got to be totally deeply head over heels in love with the woman that you are. You got to feel lovable, not perfect. All right. We're not getting you perfect to have a relationship because that doesn't exist. So I want to be really clear about that. Even the work that I teach is not about getting you perfect, right? And 100% ready. That doesn't exist. I'm with the love of my life, and yet I'm growing and evolving every day, and so is he. So this is not about being the perfect finished product. It's about you being aligned and congruent with what it is that you're calling in. And if you don't believe in yourselves, right, deep down, if you don't believe that you can actually attract in a beautiful, secure, safe, loving, connected relationship, right, then you're not going to attract it in. You're going to keep proving yourself right. And you're going to be hiding behind, I'm doing all the work, I've got my vision boards, I'm being positive, it's just going to happen. And I bet you 1 million people are saying to you, hang on in there, it's going to happen. It's BS. Do not listen to your best friends. Do not listen to people just saying it's just going to happen. If that was the case, many of you would not have been single for 2 years in a row, 5 years in a row, 10 years in a row. You've just got to look back where you were this time last year and the year before that. You've just got to look back at, the same patterns that keep occurring in your relationships and get honest with yourself and go, I am the common denominator here. Because if you truly in your heart were a vibrational match with the love of your life, with the most amazing man who shows up for you, who prioritizes you, then you'd already have that in your life, right? It's as easy to attract your soulmate as it is to attract a free cup of coffee. I kid you not. There's no difference just the belief around one of them being easy, the coffee, and the soulmate being hard. And it comes back to the belief in yourself, the trust in yourself, and to create this safe haven within yourself to be able to know and discern when it's the right person, and to trust yourself. Because so often, women say to me, oh, I don't trust men, I don't trust love. And I said, darling, that's true. But the person you don't trust is yourself. You don't trust that you're enough. You don't trust that you deserve to have that relationship. You don't trust that it's going to stay. You're living in scarcity. You feel like it, once, even if you did attract it in, that you're going to lose it anyway. There's a huge fear of loss, huge fear of rejection, and a huge fear of when the guy gets to actually see the real you, that he's not going to hang around. And so this is why, have your vision board. I'm not saying don't have one. Vision boards are awesome. Like, I'm really not dissing them, but I'm saying that if you know that this conversation is really resonating with you and you don't really believe, like, just cough up the verbal, you know what, Lucy, I don't actually really think that I can have the kind of relationship you're talking about. That's the first step. Be honest about where you are. If I look back to the version of me when I had the vision board and someone sat me down and said, do you really believe in your heart you can have this? My superficial answer was, yeah, of course, absolutely. I'm worthy. Of course, I'm ready. But if they sat with me a little bit longer, I'd be like, no, I don't think that I'm good at commitment. I don't feel worthy of it. I don't know how to show up in love. I don't know who to be. I can't. I'm terrified to be vulnerable, right? This was my truth. And I know that that's what's living inside of you. And that is the only thing, right? Your misalignment that it's holding you back. But the cool thing here is that I want you to hear is there's nothing wrong with you. You are supremely lovable. You can absolutely have a soulmate relationship and anything for that matter that you desire. But we live in a vibrational universe, which means that we are all energy and we're either vibrating, right, with the things that we feel aligned with, or we're vibrating with lack. We're vibrating with rejection. We're vibrating with not enoughness, that we don't deserve it. And so you're living in one world or the other, an abundant reality where it's safe to have love, or love is not safe and I actually don't believe I can have it. And honestly, what's the point anyway? They're two very different worlds and I've lived in both. I absolutely have. And it cost me a lot of time and a lot of heartache and a lot of hangovers. And everyone around me was coupling up. I remember I was living in Sydney and I lived in a great house. I had great friends, I had a great job. It was not aligned with me either. Nothing was really in alignment at the time. And I was going to all these weddings and I was like, dressing up, maybe my soulmate's here. Of course he wasn't, because I wasn't home for myself. I wasn't connected to myself. I wasn't being an advocate for myself. I wasn't putting my best foot forward. At every single wedding that I went to or every party that I went to, I was walking in the version of me that deep down did not believe that I could honestly have that reality come true. And it suited me to want it, but it didn't suit me to actually do the work to receive it. It didn't. And deep down, I was moving further and further away from my dream and I didn't even know it. And I was sabotaging and I was drinking too much and I had no boundaries. I was treating myself like shit when I look back at it. And underneath the guise of, I'm positive, this is just going to happen, I'm a good person. So that's what I was showing the world. I was a hot mess internally. I didn't even realize how miserable I was. That's how scary it was, how big and deeply I was pretending, to the point where I tricked myself. And the vision board certainly wasn't doing anything to help me shift through any of my issues. And on top of that, I was getting kinesiology, I was getting Reiki, I was doing tapping, I was doing acupuncture, I was doing all of the things. But again, it was me outsourcing and having things done to me. Like I just wanted the fix, I wanted it now. And I was avoiding doing the really, really deep heart work. I was avoiding dealing with what I really needed to face and confront. Because I didn't even honestly think that there was that much to deal with. I didn't even know that my self-expression was so bad. I thought I was really good at self-expression. I didn't know that I was so inauthentic. until I got the right support, and I was like mind blown. I was actually mind blown at how out of alignment I was, to the point where I remember saying to this mentor, are you sure you're talking to me? Like, are you sure I'm 80% suppressed? Are you sure that I'm this inauthentic? And he was like, yes, I'm sure, I'm positive. And it was a really rude wake-up call. But the thing I'm sharing here with is that I was so far down the path of it's just going to happen, and I'm doing the right things, and I've got my vision board, and I'm doing this and I'm doing that, that, like I said, I had myself fooled, and it was an illusion. And so now I look back and I'm just like, oh my God, like, no, like never again. And that's why I want to have this conversation with you to say, you know, quit just going to the therapy if you've been doing the same thing and you're not actually getting any changes in your life, because we're seeing changes in an 8-week period with women that have come in with some pretty big traumas, with some pretty big belief issues. Like, yeah, right, Lucy, as if I could attract my soulmate, but I'm willing to try this. You know, that was so, what's the word? So far gone with their dream, a lot of the women we work with, that they're like, well, this is my last attempt. Like, I may as well try it. And then they completely shift stratospheres once they get the right support. And they realize, oh my God, yeah, the vision boards and all the things I was doing, no, it was just total Band-Aid. It's like a Band-Aid. It's like a superficial Band-Aid. No. A vision board is not going to clear 30 years of conditioning. A vision board is not going to heal some of the things you've experienced, right? For some of you, it's been miscarriages. Others, it's been abortions when all you want is a kid. Others of you, it's been really, really bad emotional abuse, or attracting in partners that have major addictions, right? Or they want you to pay the rent and they're just freeloaders. Others of you are attracting in narcissists. People that cheat. Like, there's so many different variants, and this community is not about you just having a relationship. Anyone can get into a relationship. It's about you actually calling in very consciously, very deliberately, the most phenomenal relationship that grows you on every level, where you feel seen, safe, cherished, loved, supported. And the only reason you're going to attract that in is when you do that for yourself first. And that is why we don't say this is a magic bullet, you do it in a week. No, it's an 8-week process. It goes incredibly deep, and you've got to be ready. You know, you've got to be ready to fight for yourself. You've got to be ready to step up and say, I deserve this, and this can't wait. Like, I'm not willing to put my dream off for one more day. I'm not willing to get one more glue stick and cut out, you know, all these images which seem fun for it not to work. Like, it's not a plan. A vision board is not a plan. It's not a process. There's no accountability. There's no sisterhood. There's none of that. It's just a beautiful piece, which I invite you to do, but it certainly is never going to cut it for you. It's not going to change anything internally for you, and it's going to keep you where you are. So that's really all I have to say about this, is that attracting in your soulmate is your birthright, and you can absolutely do it. Yes, during COVID. We've had more people meet their soulmates during COVID than we have in any other year. So it doesn't matter what town you live in, what the population is, whether it's New York or a little country town, you know, it does not matter. It's the worldview that you're choosing to live inside of, whether life is working for you or whether it's being done to you. And one of them is victimhood, and the other one is limitless abundance. And so it's about getting the mentorship and the accountability so that you can up-level your beliefs and your mindset and your identity of who you are in the world, right? You're not some little victim who's hopeless at love, but that's a story that you've been living in. It's what I was living in. I was just like, I'm shit at this. Like, I'm just not cut out for it. I'm not any good. Bullshit. When I started living inside of the story that I am soulmate material and this is a non-negotiable and I'm going to do whatever it takes to clear my shit, then of course it showed up, because that was a non-negotiable for me, and that's what it needs to be for you. But you've got to have skin in the game, okay? It's not going to just happen. You have to be in a place where you're like, do you know what? I'm sick of the struggle. I'm sick of feeling left behind. I'm sick of being the last one standing and watching, you know, all my friends have baby showers and engagements, and jealousy comes up, right? It does. We're human, because you want that as well. But the jealousy only repels you of being able to attract what you want anyway. So it's really important to just bite the bullet, get the support, invest in yourself, and you will be mind blown at how quickly you're going to shift out of someone who feels crap at love into feeling like an absolute rock star and in your element with like, of course I can attract in my soulmate, where it's not just words, but it's like, abso-fucking-lutely, because I am worthy. And you're saying that from the deepest part of your soul, from a place of feeling and connection rather than just saying the words. Because I used to say all the time, oh yeah, I'm worthy, I'm deserving, I'm a catch. Yeah, I'm soulmate material. Like I was saying those things with zero embodiment. I didn't believe it. And so, of course, what was going out into the world was a cardboard cutout version of me. Was all a facade. It was all a public persona. And so, of course, by about the 5th date, not even sooner, maybe the 4th date, 3rd date, I didn't know who to be, right? I was like, now who do I be without the alcohol on like a Wednesday when this guy wants to go and just have like an afternoon stroll? Like I was like, without my vices, without my champagne, like, fuck. So the vision board certainly wasn't helping me there. So I want to invite you to get really honest about where you are. We're halfway through 2021 and there's every reason that you can attract in the love of your life. But you've got to get honest first and foremost about how you feel about yourself. Are you truly lit up by your life right now? Are you living on purpose? Do you feel lovable? Or are you living out of, a lot of anxiety, scared that depression could set in if you don't solve this, concerned about your fertility, and just feeling like that panic energy that I certainly used to have and so many of my clients have, like real panic, like, oh, I don't want to be needy and desperate, but I can't help it because there is a timeline because I want to have children and blah, 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 blah. And even in my energy, when I share that, it's like that nervous fight or flight energy, and it's not the place to attract from. It's about you sitting back into your divine worth and in your feminine and in your deservability with absolute belief that, yes, I am worth this and I'm going to have it. That's the only story I encourage you to be in. And we're here to help those of you who are ready to step up, to rise, and to come home to the most amazing woman that you're born to be, because I can tell you it's the best thing that's happened to me, having a soulmate relationship and creating this family. We've got baby number 2 on the way, and how we're able to parent together and grow together and dream together and run a business together is like beyond what I had ever envisaged back in the days when I was doing a vision board. This is, I attracted in my twin flame, a guy that sees the world the same way. He's my anchor. He's my rock. I'm the fast, and he's the grounded, slow down. And we work together beautifully. And I feel so safe, so seen, so supported with him. And that is not how I used to feel in relationships. Honestly, I used to get so bloody anxious in relationships. I used to overanalyze every single text. I used to ask everyone for their opinion on how I should even respond, especially in the early dating days. Like, it was exhausting. Like, it wasn't fun for me. I was like, I just don't know how to show up in this context. Like, I can get a job, but when it comes to relationships, I felt so out of my depths and I felt insecure. And I went from confident Lucy in the first 2 dates, and then by the 3rd or 4th, I was insecure, needy, analytical, and it was just a horrible experience, really. When I look back, I was just like, that wasn't fun. But that's because I was on the run from myself. I was scared to be me. I was scared to be seen. I was scared to be supported. I was scared to be vulnerable. I was scared of love. And so what an irony that I'm there in my room with all these freaking angel cards and positive quotes and vision boards and all of the things. And yet internally I was like a hot mess. So I hope that you can get a lot from this live. I'd love to see any questions that you have or anything you want to add to this, anything you're resonating with. I'll come back and I will share my comments. Love having you in this community. If there's something you want us to talk about, just reach out and we'll speak into that. And if you're obviously ready to book a call, I do recommend you watching the masterclass first, which is free and it's pinned to the top of this community. It's well worth it. You'll get a lot of gold out of the 5 shifts in that. All right. Big love. Mwah.